Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our presentation on streamlining business tasks with HPCC systems clusters and Tombolo. Before we dive into the details, let us introduce ourselves. I'm Matt Fancher. I'm a software engineer level 3, and I've been working as part of the HPCC Systems LexisNexis Risk Solutions team for the last 2 years. I've also got about 10 years of experience in the development and IT industries total. Yadhap?
Hello, everyone. My name is Yadhap Dahal. I'm also a software engineer on this project. I have been working with HPCC systems, LexisNexis Risk Solution for about 3 years now, and I have total of 8 years experience in IT field.
Thank you, Yadhap. Together, we're excited to introduce Tombolo, an open source software by HPCC Systems LexisNexis Risk Solutions. Tombolo is designed to enhance your experience with HPCC and the ECL Watch suite by providing access to robust workflows, monitoring, and alerting to assist your team with your important data tasks. In today's presentation, we'll cover the new features that we've developed in 2024, walk through our new user experience, take a dive into our new documentation site, explore setting up a data processing workflow inside of Tombolo, set up monitoring and alerts for important jobs, and discuss our future roadmap. Let's go over the new features that we've added in 2024. In 2024, we've added robust approval workflows, advanced view filtering, quick access monitoring duplication, an all-new user experience, a new documentation site, and integrations, which should allow you, your team, and your developers to further enhance Tombolo with customizations. Let's begin with the new user experience. For this, I'm going to switch over to my browser. In front of us now is the new documentation site. As you can see, when you first reach the documentation site, you're greeted with our quick start tutorial. Let's take a look at that. As we click in to the quick start tutorial, let's go to the installation, which is the first step. Here, our team has developed an installation guide that should allow you and your team to set up the installation worry-free and hassle-free. We list all of the software requirements that you'll need to start an instance of Tombolo, as well as some recommended skill sets that may help you in case you run into troubles. After that, we have a step-by-step process to walk you through the installation process, including step-by-step commands so that you and your team don't even need to have knowledge of command line in order to get this started. Once you've started both the back end and the front end, your local instance will be up and running at port 3001. I've got a local instance set up just for this purpose. Let's head over there. Now we're taking a look at the brand new user experience in application in Tombolo. We developed a new home screen, which we'll come back to shortly. For now, let's take a look at the in-application tutorial that we've set up. First things first, we always greet our users. If we head to the next step, Tombolo indicates that we need to set up an application. Applications are a core part of Tombolo's basic functions, and we have to set one up before the rest of the instance will unlock for us to be able to use. Also, in this tour, we put a link to our new documentation site, linking directly to the applications page. Let's take a quick look at that to see how this also assists you and your team. On this page, we have first a description paragraph of what applications are and why they're important to Tombolo. as well as a quick reference list here about what applications share and what they do not share. So applications inside of the same instance of Tombolo share things such as environment variables, cluster whitelists, and email configurations, as well as the database and any host machine settings such as firewalls. Applications do not share things such as assets, data flows, jobs, monitorings, notifications, and so on. This way, you can have one instance of Tombolo and multiple teams working with their own sets of clusters, data, workflows, and monitoring. Let's head back to the application and get one set up. I'm going to use the link on the left nav, and as soon as I reach the applications page, the tour will immediately indicate that I need to use the action button in the top right-hand corner of Tombolo to add an application. For ease of use, we've kept all add buttons in the top right-hand corner. So any screen you're on, you will always see a blue add button in the top right-hand corner. Let's go ahead and add an application. I'm simply going to call this one example application. I'm also going to give a quick description and then set the visibility to private or public. Private only allows me to view this application. Public would allow anybody with access to this installation of Tombolo access to this application. I'm going to keep this one private. Let's go ahead and hit save. And as you can see, I get a notification that my application was saved successfully. In the top header, we can also see the application selector has automatically switched to the application that I just created. After we've set up an application, there's one more step we need to do to unlock the rest of Tombolo's functionalities, and that's connecting to a cluster. Clusters are the backbone of Tombolo. They're where all your data processing and workflows actually happen. So in order to unlock things such as workflows and monitoring, we need to get connected to a cluster. We also, once again, link directly to our clusters documentation page. This will allow new users to be able to get clusters added to their whitelist files and add them quickly and easily. Let's go back to the application and get one added. I'm going to click on the clusters link, and once again, I'm prompted to add a new cluster using the add button in the top right-hand corner. Here in the add cluster screen, we've just got two fields to fill out. First is a drop-down with clusters. This is a list of all of the clusters that we have available in our cluster whitelist file. For this purpose, I'm going to select Kubernetes test, and then I'm going to add an admin email. Admin emails are used to notify users whenever Tombolo loses communication with a cluster. That way, this can be investigated quickly and workflows can be reestablished without any pauses or interruptions in day-to-day tasks. I'm going to add my email here and then hit save. Tombolo will go through a few steps of communicating with the cluster to make sure everything is okay. And once it's finished, we'll see a cluster added successfully message, and the rest of the application and left navigation will unlock, ready for use. Let's take a quick look at that new homepage that we developed. Here we have our new homepage. Right here in the middle, we've put all of our common tasks that you and your team may need quick access to on a day-to-day basis, including workflows, monitoring, and dashboarding. We'll go over a few examples of each of these during today's presentation. Now that we've taken a look at the new user experience, let's go ahead and get started with setting up a workflow. Workflows inside of Tombolo are enabling. They allow you and your team to set up important sequential data processing jobs with ease. There's no code required. Tombolo provides an easy-to-use GUI to set up and schedule these jobs to allow even non-technical users easy access. They're flexible. They can be started on a schedule, by file arrival, by a certain job's completion, and more. They provide Useful alerting. Tombolo will send out alerts configurable on both the workflow level and at the individual step level so that you and your team can have peace of mind that your data processing issues are remedied before that data is presented to users. And we also offer versioning so that if issues do arise, rolling back to a previous version is simple. There's no need to contact your IT administrators or development team to get things back in order. Let's head back to our browser and into an instance of Tombolo and set up a new workflow. Here in this workflows demo application, I've already imported a few job assets. For the sake of time, I'm not going to add any more assets, but here in the top right-hand corner, we have our add asset options. So you can add things such as files, file templates, jobs, queries, indices, and more for use inside of your workflows. Let's go ahead and click on the workflows link here in the left navigation. As you can see, here we list out all of the workflows that are currently inside of this application in Tombolo. Let's go ahead and create a new one together. When I hit the Add button for the workflow, we're presented with a few fields that we need to fill out, including title. I'm going to call this one Example Workflow 3, a description, and then a cluster so that we can tell Tombolo which cluster we want this to run on. Once again, I'm going to choose the Kubernetes test cluster. We're also offered username and password fields, just in case your cluster requires authentication. If it does, you can provide a username and password here in this field. Down below that, we'll see the notify options. These notify options are used to set up the email alerts for your workflows at the workflow level. So we have the options of never, only on successful runs of the workflow, only on failures, or always. For now, I'm just going to choose only on failure because I want to know if this workflow fails. For a failure message, this is what is going to be added to the email message to your users to let them know something has gone wrong, as well as some additional information that Tombolo will provide. For the failure message, I'm just going to put something has gone wrong. After that, I can add a number of notification recipients for this workflow. That way, the correct people are notified and can look into why something has gone wrong with example workflow 3. I'm just going to add my own email address here and then save the workflow. As you can see, we get a successfully created workflow message here. And if we want to begin designing this workflow, all we need to do is to click into the workflow. Here, you'll see our easy to use, no code required workflow designer screen. On the left, we have asset nodes that you can drag into the designer screen. And on the top, we have a number of tools that you can use to get more info on what's going on, save versions, and more. Let's go ahead and set up a workflow that works its way through a few different data processing jobs sequentially, using the jobs that we already saw in the asset screen earlier. In order to do that, I'm going to drag a job node onto the screen. Once it's on the screen, you can see that the node is decolored. This indicates to me that there is no job currently selected for this node. If you're curious what any of the icons or nodes mean, we offer a nice in-app legend here, which will describe to you exactly what each icon means inside of the designer. In order to select a job for this node, all I need is to double-click the node and select the job that I want. I'm going to go with demo step 1. As you can see, we've now dropped the title directly below the node. If I double click on this again, we get a variety of options that we can use to run and set up notifications for this node. Once again, we have the same notify options that we did on the workflow level on the job level. I'm not going to bother setting those up on the job level for the sake of time, but let's go ahead and set up a schedule for this workflow to run. Tombolo offers a number of different scheduling options, including timer-based, so running on specific intervals or on certain dates, job-based, or template-based, so that when a file arrives that matches the template, you can kick off this job. I'm going to go ahead and select timer-based for this first one. Here, we're going to be using a cron string, but we've conveniently added an explainer and a description of how often this would run. So with just 5 stars, we'd be running every minute. But I don't want to run that this often. I want to run it at 7 a.m. every day. So I would add 0 to the minute column and 7 to the hour. And you can see here, my explainer says at minute 0, past hour 7, and then I get a nice schedule breakdown here. So this would run tomorrow at 7 a.m., on the 1st of September at 7 a.m., so on and so forth. When I'm happy with my schedule, I can simply hit Save Schedule. I get my success message and then close out of the modal. You'll see an hourglass icon next to the node indicating that this job is going to run on a schedule. I'm going to bring one more job node onto the designer screen and select Demo Step 2. Now, Demo Step 2, I want to run immediately after Demo Step 1. Let's say Demo Step 1 ingests the data, and Demo Step 2 is going to clean the data after the data has been brought in. Here, I can come in and schedule this job to run on a job-based schedule. So this will allow me to run Demo Step 2 immediately when Demo Step 1 has already completed, and will only run if Demo Step 1 completes successfully. Once I hit Save Schedule and close out of this, you'll see we now have a line between these two indicating that Demo Step 2 is connected to Demo Step 1 and will run sequentially. I'm going to go ahead and repeat this process one more time for Demo Step 3. I'm going to have it run immediately after Demo Step 2. And it's that simple. Now we have a data processing job, multiple steps that will start off at 7 a.m. every day. In order to make this version live and to make it start running on that schedule, we need to save the version. I'm going to name this version 1 and hit create. And now I've saved a copy of this version. So I'm on the working copy now, but I can always have access to revert back to version 1 if necessary. If I want to make version 1 live, all I need to do is hit this play button and hit make live. Now Tombolo will have this job run on the schedule that we set up and determined and send out alerts accordingly. But let's say I forgot a step. I need to add another step to the end of this. Well, that's very easy. Since we're on the working copy, all I need to do is drag another job node here and add the step I forgot. We can set the schedule. I'm going to set this one to run after Demo Step 3. Hit Save Schedule. And now I've got the final step added to my workflow. I'd want to save this as a new version called version 2, final, and hit create. If I use this versions dropdown, you can see that just because I created version 2, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the one running. It's not live yet. We still have version 1 running. So if we wanted to switch, all we would need to do is hit pause on version 1. We will get a warning that this will stop execution of version 1. I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. And then we can start version 2. Alternatively, if we decided that version 2 was not what we wanted to use and we needed to revert back to version 1, we'd simply need to revert that process. I hope this demonstration has helped you understand how quick and easy it is to set up a sequential data processing workflow inside of Tombolo. I've already got some workflow history set up so that we can take a look at workflows that have already been running. Let's head over to the workflow history screen to take a look at that. This example workflow that I have set up here has been running for a few days. So if I select this, I'll get details on all of the runs that this workflow has done. We have convenient green and red badging indicating success or failure. And then you can expand this for more details on each step that has happened along the way. So we can tell when each step started, what the status was, what the work unit ID was that it used, and more. Additionally, with failures, we can take a look and see, oh yes, at 8 a.m., this demo step 1 had an error, and we didn't even get to demo step 2 because demo step 1 had an error. This screen will allow you to quickly and easily investigate issues with your workflows. Also, let's take a look at the notifications that Tombolo sends out upon success of a workflow. Here, we have a quick example of a demonstration workflow execution being successful. Tombolo sends out a message that starts with hello, and then this is the predefined string that I defined for this workflow, that the demonstration workflow was successful. And then we also offer a quick link to view the work execution details inside of Tombolo here. This will take you directly to the screen we were just looking at for that workflow execution. And also a quick link here to go view that same workflow inside of the HPCC cluster itself. We do the same thing for failure messages so that you don't even need to go to Tombolo to investigate what happened. You can go directly to the HPCC cluster itself if you need. I hope you can see now how quick and easy and useful workflows are inside of Tombolo. Let's move on and talk about integrations. Integrations are our team's way of adding further code base extensibility and give your team the ability to customize an instance to your desire. I'm going to show a quick example inside of my browser so that we can take a look at what the integration screen looks like. Here on the left navigation, we can see that we have, under the admin section, applications and integrations. If I click on this integration screen, you can see I've got an example integration here with a description, and then we also have a toggle to turn this integration on and off. You can turn this integration on and off per application so that you can have customizable code turned on for some teams and not for others. When you turn this integration on, you'll be offered a settings menu here. We don't have anything currently set up here, but our team is currently hard at work developing documentation to allow your users and your developers easy access to create these integrations so that you can customize Tombolo to your team's needs. Well, that's it for integrations and workflows. I'm going to let Yadhap take it away for monitoring, dashboards, and notifications. Yadhap, take it away.
Thank you, Matt, for the introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm excited to present some more key features that we have recently added to Tombolo. I would like to focus on 3 major features that make Tombolo a useful tool for anyone who interacts with HPCC systems in daily basis. The key features that I'll be highlighting today are job monitoring, directory monitoring, and notification dashboarding. Now, let me start by explaining what job monitoring in Tombolo means. In simple terms, job monitoring in Tombolo means keeping an eye on a work unit that run in HPCC systems. If a work unit does not behave as expected, Tombolo ensures that the right people are promptly alerted so they can take action before it impacts our customers. This is made possible by Tombolo's ability to seamlessly integrate with HPCC systems. Now, let us look at how a job or a work unit running in HPCC can be remotely monitored from Tombolo. For this, I'm going to switch to my browser. Okay, so currently I am in the job monitoring page. To get to this page, you can use this left navigation over here. On this left navigation, we have a section called monitoring, and under monitoring, you can click on the job monitoring to get to this page. So in this page, what you're seeing right now is a list of job monitorings already configured. For this demo, I configured about 10 monitorings. And as you can see, some of these monitorings, they are color coded. Some of them are red and some of them are green in color. The red ones indicate that these job monitorings are not running. It could be because these monitorings were not approved or they were paused for some reason. Likewise, the green monitorings are the ones that are running currently. They were approved and they were started. Okay, now let us quickly look at how you can create monitoring like this. To create a new monitoring, all you need to do is hover over this action button and select the appropriate option, which is Add Job Monitoring. When you click on Add Job Monitoring, you will see a model like this. On this model, there are 3 tabs. The first tab is the Basic tab. This is where you enter the basic information about the job monitoring. For example, you might want to give a unique name to a job monitoring, so it's easy to identify. Similarly, you can provide the description, monitoring scope, and the cluster information. On the second tab over here, you provide the scheduling details. For example, if a job is supposed to run on daily basis, weekly basis, monthly or yearly basis, you can provide that information over here from this schedule picker. Also, you can provide the expected start time and the expected end time. If a job is supposed to complete by the expected completion time, you need to pick require complete yes. Now let us go to the third tab, which is notifications. On this third tab, you provide information related to notification. For example, you provide the alert recipient email addresses over here. You also select in what condition you want to be notified. And finally, when you are done filling up all this information, you can simply hit submit and it will create a new job monitoring for you. Now, in the interest of time, I'm not going to add a new monitoring from scratch. Instead, I'm going to use our handy duplicate action to create a new monitoring. This duplicate action will basically replicate one of the monitoring that already exists. So let me go ahead and pick up this last monitoring, which says daily stock market data. Go over here and then hit duplicate. So now when you click on duplicate, it pre-populated all of the data, all of the fields already. Now it is also suggesting as a name, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this name so it is more unique. So I'm assuming there is a job with the name daily employment data. Okay, and then this job is supposed to run in this cluster named discovery, and the job, it runs every day, but every day the name of the job is not same. So the name of the job starts with daily employment data, but it is appended by the current date. So you can, so this is one of the patterns that you can use to identify jobs. If you want to know what other patterns you can use or what kind of wildcards you can use, you can simply click on this information icon and you'll be able to read through all the different formats that you can use. Okay, so I changed the job monitoring pattern, and I'm going to the schedule details. I'm not going to change anything over here because it looks like the job is supposed to run Monday to Friday. It is expected to run between 3 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. and it is required to complete by 11:59. So I'm satisfied with this scheduling. Now I'm going to go to the notification section. Now let us look at the notification condition. Basically, let us look at like when we want to be notified. We want to be notified if a job fails. If a work unit fails in HPCC, we want to get the alert. Same thing if the job is in aborted state, unknown state, or if it is not punctual, if it did not start on time, or if it did not complete on time, we want to get notified. And here are the contact email that will receive the notifications. Now, I'm satisfied with all the information over here. I'm clicking submit. And as you can see, a new job monitoring is added to this list. And as you can see, the background is red, indicating that this job monitoring is not running. So the first thing, once you create the job monitoring, it has to go through the approval process. Since I have admin access on this instance, I'm going to click on more, click on approve or reject, and then I'm going to approve this monitoring. I'm simply going to put this simple message saying it is approved and click on approved. Now, if you look under approval status, it changes to approved. Now, the monitoring has been approved, so we should be able to start it. Now, I'm going back to the more option and clicking on start. And now the color turned to green, indicating that this job monitoring is running now. So let me quickly explain what happens when you create a monitoring. Once it is approved and running, what happens? What happens after that? So once you have a monitoring that is running, Tombolo at fixed interval keeps on checking on these monitorings. And what they do is they will reach out to, Tombolo will reach out to the cluster that is configured on this monitoring and make sure the job that is specified on this monitoring runs at that window. If it does not run or if it enters an undesired state, it will notify the users. Okay, now we looked at how to create job monitoring. Let us look at what else you can do on this screen. Okay, so if you want to see detail about a job monitoring, there is this eye icon. If you click on this eye icon, you will see a lot of detail about this monitoring. For example, you can see the name of the monitoring, you can see the cluster, you can see the pattern of the job and the time it is supposed to start and end and all those details. And if for any reason you need to edit this monitoring, you can simply click on this edit icon. All the fields will be pre-populated for you. You can just change the information that you want, hit an update, and your updated information will be saved in the database. You can access more actions from this more icon over here, more link over here. We already looked at approve and reject. We already looked at start and pause. Now you can delete or monitoring if it is no longer useful. If you are no longer using it, you have an option to delete it. You can even look at the notifications that are generated by this monitoring. So let me quickly show you one of the notification that was sent out by job monitoring. So this is the sample notification that was sent out by the job monitoring I have created. And it basically says a job was supposed to start on time, but it failed to do so. So it gave me a notification ID. It gave me some other details like the region, domain, product, severity level. And it also clearly gave me what the issue was. The issue was the job was expected to run at certain time, but the time has passed and the job has not started yet. So that's the reason for this notification. Besides that, it also provides the remedy information to the recipient. So the remedy information is basically the instruction for the recipient of this application. Okay, now let me go back to the application again. And we already saw this duplicate function. This comes in very handy when you have to create a lot of monitoring with similar configuration. This is a brief overview of job monitoring. Now, I would like to show you another important addition to Tombolo, and we call it directory monitoring. Just like job monitoring keeps an eye on work units running on HPCC, directory monitoring tracks the directories and files in HPCC. Directory monitoring monitors specific directories to track any changes or activities. It automatically triggers alerts when specified conditions or events occur within the directory. It also ensures that the files are moving in and out of the directory as expected without any issues. Now let us switch to the browser and see directory monitoring in action. For this one, again, I'm going to switch to the browser. From the same navigation on the left hand over here, you can click on directory monitoring, and this is the directory monitoring page. The layout is very similar to job monitoring. So this is done on purpose so our users will have a good user experience. All right, so over here, I have configured 4 directory monitorings. Now, if you want to create a new one, the process is same. There is an action button on the top. You click on that action button. You select an option that says add. And again, you are greeted with the same kind of model with 3 different tabs: basic, scheduling details, and notification. Same as usual, you provide the basic information on the basic tab. So in directory monitoring, you'll have to mention what directory you are going to monitor. So you'll have to select the cluster, and from cluster, you'll have to select the landing zone, machine information, and you'll have to select the directory that you want to monitor. Now, in the scheduling details, you provide the scheduling. For example, if a file is supposed to arrive in a directory, or if a file is supposed to leave a directory at certain times, you provide those information over here. And finally, in the notification section, you provide the notification details, such as the notification recipients and also the notification conditions. Now, let us look at what different conditions we have for directory monitoring. So for directory monitoring, currently we have 4 different options. The first one is file not moving. So sometimes you want a file to arrive to a directory and after sometimes leave that directory. So we want to monitor whether the file leaves the directory on time or not. If a file is supposed to leave the directory and if it does not, Tombolo alerts the user. Same thing, sometimes you want to get notified when a new file is detected on a directory. And you can also monitor the number of files in the directory. You want to make sure the file count in a directory is between certain threshold. It does not exceed the maximum count, or it does not go below the minimum count. You can all configure from over here. And then once you submit, same thing happens like job monitoring. It will save the data to the database and it will appear on this screen. Again, in the interest of time, and also I have shown the job monitoring, which is exactly like this. I'm not going to create a new one from scratch. Now, the functions available for directory monitoring are pretty much the same thing. You can view details about the monitoring by clicking on this eye icon. If there is a need to edit the monitoring, you can do so by clicking on this edit icon, and you have the same set of actions under this more menu. Now that we looked at directory monitoring briefly, let us jump to another important feature in Tombolo: notification dashboarding. So I mentioned earlier that the monitoring in Tombolo, such as job monitoring and directory monitoring, they generate notification. Sometimes they send out a lot of notifications. These notifications are sent to users, and they are also saved in Tombolo's database, so we can later analyze the notification patterns and we can dashboard them. This helps us analyze them and track whether the recipient took the necessary actions. Plus, we can look at notification trends, like what is generating most alerts, which days of the week we see the most activity, and all kind of useful insights. Now, let us switch to the application and look at the notification dashboard. All right, to go to the dashboard page, we again have this dashboard menu. And if you expand that, we have notification dashboarding. I'm clicking this one, and it took me to the notification dashboard. So what you are seeing over here is the list of notifications that were sent out by Tombolo. If you have a notification ID like this, and if you want to look at the details, you can use our search bar over here. Simply insert the ID, and then it should filter that particular notification. If you want to see the details about this notification, there is an eye icon again. If for some reason you want to edit this notification, you can use the edit icon. So for example, the notification was sent out by Tombolo. Now the user was supposed to take some action. Let's say the user is now reviewing the application. So it's in the triage phase. So the user can come over here and change the status to triage. Similarly, if they want to associate any kind of Jira ticket, they can do it over here. They can add comment to this notification. And if this issue is resolved, they can also enter the resolution date and then save the details. All right, now, if there are a lot of notifications, you can use these filters to filter them. So for example, if I want to look at the notification that were generated by cluster monitoring, I'll just come to this origin area and click on cluster monitoring. And as you can see, it filtered all the cluster monitoring notifications. We have altogether 5 parameters that you can use, and we will be adding more in future. All right, so this was about this first tab over here, which is logged notification. We also have another tab called dashboard, which is quite interesting because it breaks down all this notification into various charts. So let us switch to this tab here. As you can see, there are various charts over here. Let us start with the first one over here. So this is a donut chart. It is showing the breakdown of all the notification that was sent out by Tombolo in last 14 days. So altogether 130 notifications were sent out. Out of them, 40 of them were created by job monitoring, 29 from system monitorings, and so on. Now you can use this slider. We can go up to 60 days. And as you can see, when I increase the number of days, the number of notifications also increased. We also have option to narrow down by range. You can select 2 sets of date, and then it will again filter by the range. Okay, so the second chart over here, it shows the notification distribution by status. It is very useful to see how the notifications are progressing. Now, if you look at this chart over here, it shows that out of 179 notification, only 49 of them are resolved, which means the recipient of the notification recipient are not taking action promptly. Okay, on this third chart over here, you can see the breakdown of notification count by day. Similarly, on this last chart, it shows the breakdown of notifications by product, and it also shows the status of each of those notifications. This dashboarding helps you quickly analyze trends and identify any patterns in the notifications, making it easier to take actions when needed. We are getting close to the end of this presentation. So far, we covered Tombolo's ability to create workflows, monitor jobs and directories within HPCC, and dashboard the notification generated by them. Looking ahead, we have two major focuses. First, we are zeroing in on Thor monitoring. This feature will allow us to closely monitor the performance and resource usage on the Thor clusters themselves, not just the job running on them. This proactive approach will help ensure smooth operation and prevent bottlenecks in data processing. Second, we are focusing on publishing a comprehensive developer guide to assist developers in getting the most out of Tombolo. Finally, I want to mention that Tombolo is an open source tool and anyone interested can contribute or build on top of it as per their needs. If you would like to see any features or have suggestions, feel free to reach out to our team at customersolutions@hpcc.com. You can also check out Tombolo's repository as it is public. The link to the repo is displayed on the screen. Thank you for attending our presentation. We are now open to any questions you may have. Please use the chat to ask. Thank you.